start the recording, but we still got some promoting to do, and then we can get. Hey guys, anybody, especially if you're a guest, if you do have questions, or actually if you're already on the team, whatever the case is, if you do have questions, now would be a good time to post them, because we do have a guest tonight, Susan Shaffer, and I'm sure we'll be able to take some questions there too. But what I'm referring to is anything production related, something you're stuck on in a transaction. We could cover those things first. That would be great. Let's see. We have lots of guests on. This is great. And as I'm promoting you, you should be able to engage your computer's camera, just that way we can see your wonderful, beautiful face. And it's a great way to get engaged and stay engaged. So, and Gina, I'm going to promote you, Gina, to a co-host. If I can get you, there's Gina. So Gina, hang on one second. So Gina, if you could help me out with the chat box and so forth, that would be great. And Susan.
And that's perfect today because I'm on hold with the IRS for my dad while we're doing this. So that is perfect.
And I have a special comment to make. So Gina Hansen and Susan Shaffer, guess what you two have in common?
What's that?
What?
Well, Gina was a team leader at the Newport News KW Market Center. And of course, Susan's and her husband have started a Shaffer Realty, and also their Untitled company down the south side. So this is, for all you people not familiar with what we call the 757, that's Hampton Roads, or what I used to still refer to as Tidewater, Virginia. And it's anything that has to do with the opening of the Chesapeake Bay or on the Atlantic Ocean there. Beautiful place to be. My oldest, dearest, lifelong friends are there. So I'll be there. I'll be back again. It's like MacArthur said, I shall return. I've been saying that every year for 30 years, and every year I return several times to see some ODU football games and basketball games, and go to the beach and eat fresh seafood and just have a good old time. So yeah, so I'm sure. And did you tell me Joe? Doggone it, what's his last? I keep forgetting his last name. When I was there, Susan, you said he had just left. Joe.
Yeah.
And what's his last name? Because Gina will remember, because he was.
Gosh, I'm trying to remember. I can totally picture.
McAvoy. They moved to Utah. Yep, they moved to Utah.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Yep. So he was in our markets. I was in Newport News. I was also down at Western Branch, which of course is part of Chesapeake. So, guys, please forgive me. I'm waxing nostalgic with some old friends. So, okay, a few more promotions and we'll get started. Let's see. Hey,
Carol, I'll
Dan.
take over the promotions for you. You can just go when you're ready.
Thank you, Gina. And it's about 7:05 now. So guys, welcome aboard, particularly all the guests. This is an open class. Okay, typically we do have a guest tonight, Susan Shaffer from Shaffer Realty. And we have a certain subject matter to go over. So during the class, Susan, if you like, between Gina and I, we can kind of field the questions or manage the chat box for you. And Susan, if you wouldn't mind, maybe just do a brief introduction on yourself, and we can go ahead and you can share your screen as soon as you're ready. We can get started,
Okay, great. Well, hi, everybody. It is a pleasure to be here with you this evening. And we're going to be talking about the value of time in sales this evening. And so you got a little bit of homework in advance, and hopefully you brought that this evening so that you can get the maximum benefit out of this. The way that I like to conduct a teaching is more like a workshop. So this is going to be interactive. You can ask questions in the chat box, and happy to, field those questions, be able to help you. My goal at the end is that you're going to walk away with at least one nugget that you can apply to your business and that can help you to empower you to reach your goals by the end of the year. So that is what my goal is for this time that I get to share with all of you. And again, this is an interactive workshop, so ask your questions, be glad to field them. And as Gary said and Gina said, they're going to manage the chat box and give all of that to you. So I do have a PowerPoint. It is pretty heavy in you doing a little bit of jotting down and thinking in as we go. So Gary, do you have anything that you would like to introduce or talk about before I get started?
Yeah, no, well, actually, I do want to say one thing, guys. I just finished reading. I don't know if it's going to show up with my screen here. Okay, Riches in Real Estate, written by Susan and Jared Shaffer. And I tell you what, this little book packs a big punch. And one of the things I was going to mention tonight is everybody here, when it comes to branding, you should consider yourself an advisor because you are. And in your own mind and heart, it'll elevate your status. It'll elevate your in terms of self-esteem. You know, you're not going to be the person who's just constantly on demand. And you know, you're out to dinner. You can always tell the realtor because they're the one talking on the phone. So listen to Susan, what Susan has to say tonight. She's going to help you have a more balanced life and actually be more of a professional and feel, think, act, and speak like an advisor. And I highly encourage you to get this book. Okay. I literally just finished it yesterday, and I love the story. I love the way the structure. I mean, that was cool. So thank
Awesome.
you. Yeah.
My pleasure. Well, some of this, is coming right from the book. So as Gary said, if you want to dive into some more advice, you can get that in the book. And we do offer it, as a compliment to you. So it's free. So if you would like that resource, it is so there to help you. So Gary, I'm going to go ahead and pull up. Can you see my screen?
Okay. Yeah, you should be able to. Let me just double check and make sure. Susan Shaffer. Okay, now you should be able to share your screen.
All right. So.
Are you on a Mac or a Windows?
I'm on Windows.
Okay, good. It should let you, if you move your cursor on, you'll see that green share button somewhere there. And let's see. Oh, thanks, Melanie. Is the share button showing up?
I'm looking here.
Okay.
Share screen.
Sometimes if you move your cursor around, you'll see there's a whole line that'll say have the microphone button, the video button, and then Q&A and polls and chat. And share screen should be the only green one. There we go.
Are you good?
That's it. Yep.
All right.
Now the screen we see has it's like the Zoom.
The Zoom app.
Yep. So if you want to start over again, the trick to this is when you hit the share button, you'll see a panel of all your open screens. You always want to choose the one in the upper left-hand corner, which is the one you're on. And then no matter wherever you go, it'll share that screen, So if you kind of X out of this or start over again, you'll see what I'm talking about, because I'm not sure with what you're on there that's gonna work. Okay, there's your email.
All right. Sorry about that, Gary.
That's okay. I learned that trick a while back. So if you want to let's do this. Let me start over, and let's
just go up and open up a new tab. And then,
all right.
Yeah, and then you can do what it is now. Are you trying to go into like a separate file?
Yeah, I've got the PowerPoint. Or I did have. Hold up.
Looking to see if we have PowerPoint up there somewhere.
I definitely had it.
You might have to go into your menu, your Windows menu, and go back to your PowerPoint.
Sorry.
That's okay.
No, it's fine.
There we go.
There.
All right.
All right. I usually have an admin, so I apologize, but
That,
it's
we
late.
get together every week, Susan, and once or twice a month we have guests, and sometimes even myself. I mean, I one time I could kick myself because I didn't have a recording. We didn't realize until like we were almost done, and thankfully Beverly, our admin, pulled the magic bunny out of her hat and saved the day, and took the Facebook Live recording. So we're casual here, so you're okay, you know.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to put up here is what was your income in real estate in the last 12 months? And hopefully you have that because that was part of the homework, if you will, before you came. So I want you to take out a piece of paper and a pen, or if you're an electronic person and you take electronic notes, just want you to jot down what your income was in the last 12 months in real estate. So everybody, you know, some people have real estate as a side hustle. Some people it's their main deal, but whatever it was, what was your income in real estate in the last 12 months? So you got to write down that number. I'm going to give you just a second to grab that. I don't want to go too fast. All right. So I want you to take that number and divide that by 2,080. Jot that down. If everybody's got that, I don't want to, again, go too fast. So let me know in the chat box if I am going too fast, because I'll slow it down. Usually I do these live, so it's more of a workshop kind of thing, and I can see people's heads. So, all right. This is your value per hour right now. So this is how much you are making in real estate per hour right now. Now, some people are feeling fabulous about themselves, and some people are like, are you kidding me? So, all right, but it's just math, right? So I like to say it like this. Math is just a number, not a story. So it is what it is. The numbers never lie though. So how do you feel about your value per hour? I want you to just take a think about that for just a second. Maybe jot down a note or two to yourself without judgment. I'm a yoga instructor, so so I want you to think about this without judgment. Just how do you feel about it? What are the emotions that come up for you? So, is it more than you thought it would be? Just curious. Is it? Is it less than you thought it would be? That's kind of like some of this reflection here. And we're going to get into, dive into that a little bit more. The big part is would you like to change it? So for those of you that you look at it and you're like, hey, that's exactly or intuitively about where I thought I was. I feel good about this. And, you know, great. Happy for you. Hope you pick up something in here that you can take with you. If it's less than you thought it would be, this is really kind of where I want you to like double down and start thinking about, okay, because I'm going to be asking you some thought-provoking questions about, would you like to change it? And if so, I want you to think back to what the goals were in the beginning of the year. So you put a number down. You thought about what it is that you wanted to achieve this year. And you put that down, hopefully you wrote it down, because if you write it down, you are much more likely, 78% more likely statistically, to actually meet your goal, by the way. So there are those of us that, you know, look, when I was younger, I really liked to have an idea of what my goal was, and I felt good about that. When I really became disciplined to write it down, I saw much greater results. And when I found out statistically and from research methods that it was 78% more likely to reach my goals if I wrote it down, I was writing it down. Just saying. So with that said, if you want to change it, we're We're going to talk about some of that. Okay. So first of all, by how much and by when? And I need you to write that down. How much do you want to change it? And by when do you want to do this? Now, you need to think about this realistically. Let's say, I'm just going to use a dollar figure, okay? Let's say that your current value in real estate per hour is $150 an hour. And you want to take it to $175 an hour. You want to increase it by $25. Okay, by when? So I want you to think about that. Next, I want you to think about, and this is going to be a little bit more, you're going to have to do on your own. There was a prompt before for you to know how many sellers you've worked with this year, how many buyers you've worked with this year, how many investors you've worked with this year, because that's going to break down and help you to get a better roadmap to where you want to be. So the same way we plug in, maps on our phone when we want to go show property, this is what you're going to be doing for your business. You're going to be plugging in for yourself. This is your map, and this is by how much and by when do you want to do this. So let's make sure you know. Now, next, we're going to talk about why. Okay, because all goals start with desire. And desire, or your dream with a deadline, is what we're talking about tonight. Okay, so what you want, we're going to say this is your dream, and then we're going to give you a deadline to achieve that dream. So why do you want this? What is it? What is it that, do you want to go on a trip? Do you want to put your kids in college? Do you want to start saving for retirement? Do you want to buy a second home? Do you just want a better lifestyle? What is it? What is it that you want? Jot that down. Why? Why do you want it? Okay. What would you do with the money? Specifically, just jot down one thing. It doesn't have to be a bunch. Just what would you do with this money? If you had the extra $25 an hour that I was talking about, what would you use it for? What do you want to accomplish? These are like big life things. So when you've probably had some of these exercises where you think about when your life is kind of complete and you have accomplished most of your big goals. What do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to leave? How do you want to leave this world? Some people, they want to change the world in some way. Some people they want to give back. Some people want to fund a charity and make a big difference. Some people want to start scholarship funds. What do you want to accomplish? And you know what? It's totally cool if it's you want to take care of your kids. I mean, one of my big dreams was to put my kids through college. And I did that. My daughter just got her placement she went to Johns Hopkins. She's an MD, PhD, and she is without a single dollar of debt that she owes. Not $1. So that's what we did. And my son went to the Citadel, and he's an audiovisual engineer in DC, and he now runs 3 different companies. Those were some of my dreams. Those are some of what I wanted to accomplish. Now I've got to set new goals, because I did those things. So, and I wanted to write a book. And with my book, I wanted to be a best-selling author. And within 3 days of our book hitting the bookshelves, we hit bestseller status. So, got picked up by a publisher. So what do you want to accomplish? I want to know what you want to accomplish in the next 6 months and in the next 12 months. So jot that down. Just choose one thing. It's, doesn't have to be real complicated. And just choose the first thing that comes to mind. And the first thing that we start to do is we start to argue with ourselves, which is really kind of funny. It's like, well, I can't do that. Just jot it down without judgment. Capture it. and 12 months. Okay. Now, I want to dive in a little bit more. How much did you earn last month? So you may have to, sit there for a minute, and I want to give you, probably like about a minute to maybe check that out. These are some things you should jot this down. If you don't have this information with you, you're going to want to check this out, because in order to get where you need to go, it's just like that GPS that I was talking about in maps. If you are heading down a certain way and you go past where you were supposed to turn, it'll give you what the next U-turn is. This is what this is going to do for you. This is going to give you your next U-turn effectively. Okay. So how much did you earn last month? I want you to take that number and divide it by 173.33. I've already done all this statistically for you, so it works. I promise. I've used it. That is your value per hour last month. Okay, so that's last month. That's how much you made per hour. Now you've got a number of things, so take a minute to kind of organize those and put side by side how much you made last year as your value per hour, how much you made last month as your value per hour, because this starts to give you a picture of where you're at. How do you feel about that number, the number that you did last month? Okay. And where are you as compared to what you thought you would do? We're in May. We're almost at the end of May. Next month is 6 months. So this is a checkup from the neck up, right? That's what we're doing here. We're taking a checkup from the neck up. So like, how realistic and where are you? And do you need to effectively take that U-turn that we talked about? Is it higher or lower than your annual value per hour? Just jot that down. It's one or the other. It just is. Time is the one resource we all have in equal amounts. So the people that are on the street corner, again, no judgment, that are panhandling, have the same amount of time that you do every day. The President of the United States has the same amount. All these different, Warren Buffett has the same amount. We all have the same amount. So we're all equal, right? It's just what we do with that time. We choose how to invest those hours. And that's what this is. Again, I'm here to be that voice to say, hey, you wanted to get to X, but are you at Y? Or maybe you're at C. Where are you effectively? If you want a different outcome, you change what you're doing and how you invest those hours. Nobody else. That's all up to you. And see, here's the great thing about real estate. You are free to choose. That's such a beautiful profession with very little amount of formal education and with very little structure. You can really, do such marvelous things. You just have to invest those hours appropriately. You choose wisely, maximize the return on your investment, because you are your greatest investment. It's not a hokey, feel-good, kumbaya kind of thing. You really are your greatest investment. And what you put in is what you're going to get out, okay? So this is your time, this is your talent, and this is your resources. And so I'm here to say, hey, how are you doing? Really? Because you're just sitting right there. There's nobody else looking. Nobody else knows. Nobody else knows what your notes are, but you know. And so look back at your calendar for the last 30 days. Maybe you pull it up on your phone. And we're going to do a little introspection. Okay. Was every meeting that you attended worth your value per hour? So you know what your dollar per hour is. Was every meeting that you had, every listing appointment you went on, every home that you showed, every investor you talked to, was every one of those meetings? And I hope this meeting is worth your value per hour. That's my goal. Were some meetings worth more than others? And you'll start to see a theme here. Think of a meeting last week that drove up this value per hour. What was that meeting last week that you had? It just happened. So you're going to know. What is it? How can you schedule more meetings like that one? What was it about that meeting that was so valuable? What did you do? What are some of the components? Who did you see? Do you like that type of sales better than the others? Or are you just really good at it? And can you do that more? Pick a meeting last week that drove down your value per hour. Maybe it's the 50th house you showed that buyer that's a low income buyer. Again, no judgment. Just, could you delegate that? Could you designate that to somebody on your team that's learning that it's really valuable to them where they're at, but you can get more money by focusing on these other activities, and you can get residual income from that way? Can you restructure a little bit? What do you need to do differently to avoid scheduling the types of meetings that drive down your value per hour? What are those things? And as you look at how you spent your time last week, I'm going to ask you again. See, this is like, I'm kind of like that little person sitting on your shoulder right now that's asking you these questions. I'm whispering in your ear and I'm saying, hey, when you spent your time last week and you spent your time on Facebook on all those political commentaries, was that worth it? Were those cat videos really worth your value per hour? I mean, I'm just asking. Maybe it was. Maybe that's exactly what you wanted to do. I don't know. It's not up to me. What activities are you doing to drive up your hourly value? What are they? Because there are some. There are some things that you are incredibly good at doing that you can begin to kind of like, think about it like a profit machine. And you start printing and printing and printing, doing this. What can you get in a rhythm and a routine of doing that you're really good at? What activities are driving it down? Those cat videos? The political commentary? Watching the news? Doesn't mean you shouldn't be informed. It's just, you know, I hear people and they're like, I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out about what's going on in South America. Oh my God. Really? I mean, come on, guys. Let's focus on here. What you got going on in your life? What activities did you enjoy doing? Maybe you just light up showing houses. Maybe you light up sitting down and doing consultations with sellers to tell them how to structure their home and the repairs to do. Maybe you absolutely get jazzed working with investors and helping them understand, you know, what the return on their investment is for, you know, their different quadruplex, eightplex. Maybe you love that. Maybe it just doesn't feel like work. That's kind of what we're getting at. And what activities do you wish you'd avoided? Maybe you had conflict with a client that's, well, difficult. And, maybe it's time to free up their future to work with a different agent where you could coordinate a referral fee. Because you've been working with this person and you've been really trying to help them, and your integrity, you feel like, gosh, you just got to push through, you can do it. You can stand on your head, but is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it helping you achieve your big why? And if not, why are you doing it? Like, are you just the kind of person that just never quits? I am. I mean, gosh, they'd have to be, I really sometimes challenge myself with this, because it's like, because I said I would. I showed up because I said I would. But is it really what I should be? Should I be spending? What can you start doing this week to drive up your value per hour? Is it taking listings? Is it contacting old clients? Is it contacting that investor that you've worked with for a long time to see how they're doing? What is it? What do you need to do to drive up your value per hour? And what can you stop doing this week? This is only, early in the week. Early in the week. What can you stop doing this week to drive up your value? Because you can start doing it tomorrow. I mean, there is no reason to procrastinate. You got time. You got a whole rest of the week left. You can make this thing happen. Because there's something I know. There's 2 ways to drive up your value per hour. There's only 2 ways, at least that I know of, and that I've found over 35 years of being in this business. You can increase your earning, or you can decrease your hours. These are the only 2 ways that I know of. And if you can figure out a way to earn more while working less, I think that's fantastic. And there are ways, to work smarter and not harder, and all of those sorts of things that people have talked about maximizing. I have also more things on how to maximize your time and time management, which is a nemesis for most real estate agents. We have an 8, 8, and 8 system, what to do with those 8, 8, and 8, and how to break it down and what to do. That's another topic for another day. But if you can figure out a way to earn more while working less, I think that's fantastic. But realistically, the best way to increase your value per hour is to treat every meeting, every appointment, the rest of this week, every conversation. And I want you to think about it like this. I'm going to put it in your head. And I really hope you hear my voice in your head this week. This is the biggest challenge I'm going to give you this whole talk, this whole workshop. Would you pull out your checkbook, your debit card, and would you literally pay that amount of money for that meeting, that appointment, that conversation? Would you literally write a check for it, for your dollar per hour? If you wouldn't, why are you doing it? I mean this with love. I mean it with respect. I want you to continuously ask yourself this week, is this activity that I'm doing right now worth it? Would I write a check to take part in this meeting or this phone call or this activity? Would I literally pay my value per hour to do this thing? If you would, do it. If you wouldn't, stop it. Stop doing it. And would a mentor, coach, Gary, accountability partner increase your chances for success? Because you know what? We do better when we do things in a group with an accountability partner, with a mentor, with a coach. I started walking 2 miles a day with my husband, who's my accountability partner, January 1st, 2016. And we made a decision to change our health because we have 2 grandsons now. And we wanted to be able to run after those little babies. And we wanted to be here and we wanted to be in good health. And I can tell you, we made a decision. We were in Mexico and we looked at each other and we said, we're going to set a goal. And we are going to fix our health. We've got to fix our health if we want to enjoy being grandparents and we want to enjoy being on this planet. And we don't want to huff and puff every time we walk through an airport. I'm sick and tired of it. And so we made a decision to walk 2 miles a day. And January 1st, 2016, I'm going to tell you, for the first 30 days, it was awful. I hated it. But we stuck with it. And I can tell you, we have not missed a day of walking 2 miles plus a day since January 1st, 2016. So if you make a decision to do something, all you got to do is decide. And you can do this thing. I really encourage you to have a mentor, Gary, a coach, whoever that might be, an accountability partner. It will increase your chances for success. And my book, you can get a free copy. You can ask Gary where to go. You can, send them an email and I'll send you a free resource. Look, guys, you can do this thing. And I hope that this week, when you're out there, you're thinking about what your value per hour is. You're thinking about who you're talking to. You're thinking about what you're spending time doing. I really hope that you can accomplish all your goals and all your dreams, because that's my wish for you. So Gary, back over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Susan. I really appreciate your inspiring words there. And it reminded me of something, a lesson I learned years ago from just life, and the lesson is if you were in crisis mode, like you couldn't breathe or you couldn't walk or something like that, most people would give everything they've got to be able to breathe or to be able to walk, whichever the case is. Or let's say if anybody here had a child and you see your child heading down the driveway in a bicycle and there's a car coming down the street, I guarantee you'd run as fast as you've ever run in your life to prevent catastrophe. So here's the message. If you can summon that will like that in times of crisis, then you prove to yourself that you can summon that will to act on any given day. You don't have to be in crisis mode, but any given day, treat your life like it's worth it. Treat your time like it's worth it, because you're in terms of simple, science, your time is your life. I think a lot higher level than that, and most of you do too, spiritually. But the reality is, as far as I know, you only got one chance, one time down here, on planet Earth. And boy, you darn sure better be making the most out of every single moment. And when you live that way, I promise you, you're going to get results like you've never seen before. But I had to learn that lesson the hard way. And I remember laying in a hospital bed, putting together 2 transactions on the day I came out of surgery from when I broke my back. Okay. I didn't think it was anything spectacular. It was what I had to do to survive. Okay. But later on, I had people come through and say, I said, man, what did they give you? Whatever they gave you, I want some of that. And I said, well, ironically, I didn't take anything they gave me. I refused all medication because I couldn't have my mind clouded. I had to focus and I had to concentrate. I had to work. And it taught me the most valuable lesson in my life is, you know what? If I'm able to do that, lying in a hospital bed, not being able to walk, why wouldn't I do that on every single day? So that's what, Susan, your last words brought to mind to me. And I hope this resonates with people. This business we're in, you can spend a whole lot of time doing things that are not dollar productive. And think of it this way, if you're spending time away from your loved ones, away from your children, your parents who are probably elderly now, okay, you better darn sure will be making some money doing it, right? That's what you're serving others. And we call prosperity through service. Serve first and you shall prosper as a result. Do that with every ounce of energy you got and do it smartly and wisely. Ask these questions. If you notice in Susan's presentation, did you notice how much of it was thought-provoking questions? Do you guys notice that? Well, let me open up the floor here. You guys open up if you want to type in the chat box or have a comment or ask a question. I can tell you from experience, Susan and I, we can teach you all the academics there is to know about real estate, okay? And how to be a good producing agent. But what really matters most is stuff like this. This is the internal glue that makes everything go, okay? When you master this, the academics are just a foregone conclusion. So, okay.
If you have questions, I'm happy to answer.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to start calling on some people here. So I want to, Teresa Green, if you wouldn't mind, would you mind me calling on you? Because we haven't spoken for a bit. And and I know your heart. And I hope that some of this was like a little, just went right in there and grabbed it, you know?
So what are you asking me?
I just want to, does this kind of thing, other than doing booklets and letters and calling your sphere and all that, is hearing this and seeing all those questions Susan's asking, does that help you gain or regain perspective on your business?
Oh yeah, I mean, they're definitely, yeah. Yeah, they definitely make you stop and really take a good, hard, honest look at where you were last year, where you're headed this year, and make that correction moving forward. So if you don't like where you're at, definitely those are awesome questions and thought-provoking, tasks to really take into hand and consider where are you headed. You've got 6 months basically, right, to finish out the year. If you're running your business on an annual year-to-year thing, but yeah, everything, I took a ton of notes. So snap pictures of the screen and, so they're very good. I so appreciate your information, Susan, and just reiterating it. I mean, I've very much in tune to what you were saying, and with all the reading that I do, it comes across very, very strong. And it's just, now is the time. Definitely you need to start asking yourself that, whether you're set and ready where you want to be to go forward, and if not, do something now to get it on track. Great information.
Thank you, Teresa. And Susan, I've got a question too. Of knowing what you've been able to accomplish, you and Jared together, and you've got the title company, and then the brokerage company came after the title company, which is interesting. My story was the brokerage was first, then I did title and property management and on down the line. But in all of that, how important, in a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it for you to be engaged with your agents on your team and vice versa, and for them to give you and them permission to allow themselves to be coached, even when things don't go right, and they have that mentorship. But on a scale of 1 to 10, what's that? Is like a 1 or a 10 or somewhere in between?
That's a 10. I offer coaching on Fridays, every Friday for my folks. So anybody that wants to take advantage of it, and lots of them, of course, do, because we sit down and we talk about their plan and talk about where they're at, and they're like, yes, I know. It's kind of like when your kids roll their eyes at you. So, I saw in the chat box the PowerPoint. Absolutely. I emailed a copy to Gary and to Beverly, so they have it. So absolutely, they can share it. No problem.
Thank you for that, Susan. So,
sure.
Hey, Michael Dunlap, go ahead and unmute yourself. Guys, I feel like it's okay to do this because I've known some of these folks for years, and we coach and meet on a regular basis. But so, Michael, you recently had something come together. It was the whole relationship with Lou Brown and attracting agents and so forth. And that looks like you got a couple people coming underneath you. So with that, and I'm sure you probably had a follow-up conversation with Gina, but when you hear what Susan's saying and you read the questions she's asking, does that help you gain more clarity and elevate the level of importance of what recently has been able to occur for you in your business with that relationship through Lou and through an agent attraction? Does that give you like a heightened awareness and more inspiration to be more proactive? The step from being reactive to proactive.
Okay, well, yeah, I know I need to be more proactive. So naturally, having people be a little more on top of me, constructive criticism or holding accountability, holding me accountable. I know that those are good things for myself. So I would think that it does help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you guys just a quick story. I used to play football and I love football. If I could play today and not get killed, I would still do it. But I never forget when I moved into, to me, it was the big leagues. It was the year before high school, it was pony leagues. In 8th grade, I was the biggest kid there because I started, just grew fast. I was shaving when I was 12, when I was 12 years old, I was shaving. But what I would do is I'd show up large in charge and practice. And in a game, I would sort of be timid. I kind of wanted to hold back. I never forget my coach right in front of everybody grabbed me by the helmet. And he said, "You don't understand, Wilson. We need you out here in the game way more than we need you in practice. And your team needs you out there. You get out there and I'm going to give you the ball. I'm going to keep giving you the damn, excuse my French, give you the damn ball until you start showing us some practice here in the game." And it really sent me a big message. And I from that point forward, I always was an action taker. I thought when I saw something had to be done, my instinct was just to do it, and therein lies, a lot of the secrets of success. So Tom, can I call on you, Tom? Oh, by the way, Susan, there's agents here from all different brokerages, so it's not just the global investor team. Tom, how you been, man?
Great, thank you, Gary.
So you and I have known each other for obviously quite a while, several years, and every once in a while you'll have the conversation. You'll say, "Okay, Gary, I think this is the time. I'm ready to go ahead and take that leap." And then we revert right back to where we were and don't take that leap. But I'm ready for you, and I couldn't imagine what could possibly be holding you back any longer. I know you had some challenges in life, but those challenges will continue. They will. The life isn't going to stop. And there's no perfect day for any decision. What's perfect is when you come to that conclusion that you need to act on that decision. So does this help you see that?
Yes, it does.
Good. You gonna give me a call tomorrow?
Sure, I'll be here. If I don't answer, I went to see my oculist, my doctor, but otherwise I would call, of course.
That's
I want to
okay.
say thank you, Susan. This was like right on time for me because I'm trying to figure out how to get my work week to a 4-day work week so that I can spend more time with my kids. And at first I was like, I'll just work longer hours, during those 4 days. But after I did my thing per hour, I was like, I need to really look at those activities that are going to have the most results and boundaries. Yes. And setting boundaries, being able to look at what decreases my value and what increases my value, and just really being more present. So this is right on time for me.
Yoga teacher in me loves to hear that.
Yeah. Susan, you would love Brianna. I mean, she's a foster mom of 6 kids, and one of them just had a 1-year anniversary, her youngest one. So Brianna and I are actually going to Nashville next month to do an event with Brianna because she got top 5 award for Nashville Realtors. Then the Chamber of Commerce let her in with no charge, So we're gonna celebrate. We celebrate success,
It's awesome.
Celebrate success. Yep. So,
Thank you.
hey, Melanie Abraham, I got to call on you because I always love you and admire you, and I know how important you are in your market center there. But any gold nuggets out of this, or anything you'd like to share, or questions you'd like to ask while we got Susan on here?
I love this presentation. So time management is one of my favorite topics in self-management, and one of my goals was actually to work less and make more. So I did that last year, and then when we worked through this exercise today, I've only been on I don't even know if I've been on any trips this year. So I have one scheduled. I'm behind on my personal goals. And so I was like, well, how am I going to figure this out? So this was a really good exercise. So I did a little bit back because I worked 48 weeks last year, 47 weeks. So I just kind of reworked the math a little bit so I could figure out my hour. Yeah, but I love this. And I wanted to see the PowerPoint because there's several questions that you asked that, well, I mean, they were really extra powerful for me. And I just didn't write them down because I was eating. And then I was like, shoot. So I'm excited about seeing that. And thank you so much. It's perfect timing and very, and you took, some of the questions I asked that because I'm a coach and all that kind of stuff, but there's a few questions there that you took us even deeper to a deeper level. So I really appreciated those questions and the time that you spent asking the questions and letting us think about that and not feeling that you have to answer every question. So just dropping them in our head so we can just process. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
My honor.
So I met Melanie at a KW Market Center. I was teaching that several years ago, and she was a productivity coach for the Market Center. And one of the best, most teachable, coachable people I've ever met. Always taking notes, asking questions, applying what she's learning, and just an absolute A+ citizen too, So, yeah. Well, I got a question. Let's do a hand raise. Who here is still working a regular job while trying to do this on the side, like I did when I first started? Okay, 1, 2. Steve Montemore, your screen's blanked out, but I know you're one of those guys too. So here's what's cool about this type of an exercise. And I've been trying to articulate this for years. And I think tonight really helps me do this. So when you look at what you make per hour in real estate on a transaction, and you look at what you make per hour at your day job, and I know you might be thinking, hey, Gary, look, I've only had one transaction this year. I can't leave my job for one transaction. But the equation is you're spending 8 hours a day minimum at your regular job. That doesn't even include travel time back and forth and all the other stuff that goes on there. And yet on one transaction, I don't know the math on your transaction, but maybe it ended up being, $200 an hour. Maybe it's only $100 an hour. But is that what you're making at your day job? I'm not suggesting go out and quit your day job tomorrow. What I want you to do is change the equation in your head. So you start realizing, okay, if I devoted that 8 hours a day to what I really want to do, which would be in real estate, how much faster could you move forward and make more commissions? Is this making sense? Yeah. So I know you need the current job to pay your bills. What I'm suggesting is the next time you get a transaction and get another one following up like a month later, maybe that's the time to realize, you know what? I can survive on these 2 transactions for the next 2 months. And I was able to get the last 2. Therefore, I'm pretty sure I can get the next 2 in maybe half the time, because now I'm devoting full time to the real estate and not just a couple hours in the evenings and weekends. I lived that life. I know what it's like. I remember exactly what it's like. In fact, I was able to leave my day job after 6 months, but I was too chicken because I had the wrong equation in my mind. The equation in my mind was went to college, got a good job, making a salary, 401k, 5 weeks vacation, dental, and all that stuff. Okay. But it was an enclosed view inside the fish tank. I wasn't looking out beyond that and realizing if I just bust out of there, I'll be able to go a lot further, a lot faster. When I finally did, and I finally had the guts to do it. Took 18 months altogether. I tell you, this anniversary is coming up on it was August 13th, 2003. Sorry, 19 years. It'll be 20 years next year. There were some scary moments, guys. I'm not going to kid you, but you know what? God always provided. I mean, there's another thing I learned about living an entrepreneur's life is what it really means to have faith. Faith is a hard thing to find in people. You have to live it to understand it, So Susan, have you and Jared ever had one of those moments of time in your entrepreneurial career where you're thinking, oh my gosh, we're out of gas? Have you ever had one of those things happen?
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people that have had those crises, we built our dream home on the bay, and 12 months later we had a fire, and we were displaced for 14 months. And so we had 2 homes that we were paying for, and 2, we were just transitioning our kids into college, and it was traumatic. And the mortgage meltdown happened at the same time. And so it was like, okay, you really got to have faith, and you've really got to double down on what is it that I'm going to do. And so, it's like, you can't have a plan B. So you got to be all in. And so that's what we did. And, started the brokerages and started more businesses and just made it happen, because that's what you got to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think everybody at some point in your life, each one of you has probably had one of those crisis moments. And I know you got through it. And I know that because you're here. So think about it. You got through it then. All I'm suggesting is, if you can dig deep and remember what that felt like, granted it was scary, but what it felt like to be able to take action when you really had no guarantee of any result. You've lived it. You've lived faith. So what I'm suggesting is you can live every day that way. And I'm not the only one that's living proof. I know plenty of other people too. And the fear goes away. In fact, what's the antidote for fear? It's faith and action. Yeah. Yep. That's it.
Yeah.
So thanks, Dan. So, hey, Susan, now so for everybody here, we've got people all walks of life, some just beginning, some been around for years, some are doing it, kind of semi-retirement, some are investing too. But, as far as a state of mind or kind of a mental framework, heading out of the gate, we're heading into the second half of the year. We got lots of time left. To me, the glass is half full, So can you think of like in practical terms, what would be the first thing somebody would do once they've done a hard look and answered these questions for tonight? Work, look at their, work on their database or identify the clients. What would you say or me with the next 3 things that you would do in your office with your guys,
Absolutely. So in the Shaffer way, that's in the book, one of the F's is for focus. The second F is for finance. So focus is my answer. And so what you have to do is you have to decide what you want to focus on for your real estate portfolio, whether that's sellers, whether that's buyers, whether that's investors, and what combination of time do you want to spend on those? So when you look at your value per hour, what's maximizing your return on investment for your dollar per hour? Is it sellers? Is it buyers? Is it investors? Maybe it's property management. It could be, a combination of those things. And if so, how do you want to structure your portfolio? Think of it like a pie. And what percentage of your time is giving you how much money? So structure it that way, right? So when you look at when you work with listings, how much do you make? And I didn't go into that because when I do some of these workshops, I do like a whole day. And so, it's just too much because it's very dense information. So, it's like you have to really process, and there's a lot of emotions that comes up. And so you just have to embrace them, let them come, let them sit with you and let them resonate with you. Because here's something I want to say about fear. Gary was touching on fear. What fear is there to do for you? It's there to give you a piece of information. Okay. So I want you to think about it like this. Like when you're sitting in your car and you're looking at your gas gauges, what that's doing, you wouldn't get mad at your gas gauge for saying you got to go to the gas station, right? So what fear is there to do is there to get your attention. And fear manifests itself at different parts of your body. So I want you to really this week start to notice what you notice. Again, this is the yoga teacher in me, as well as real estate broker. So what I want you to do is I want you to notice where it manifests in your body, fear, right? Because wherever that is, and here's what I want you to do different. I want you to think, okay, this fear is here to tell me a message. It's here to communicate to me something that I need to know. And I need to know what this thing is. So I'm going to embrace this like I'm having a friend over for a chat. And fear, you can come and sit down with me. And you're here to tell me something that I need to know. You're here. So when you're with yourself and you're doing your meditation time, or you're going on a walk, or you're in your car, I can tell you, I use my car time as prayer time every single day. Every commute that I use, that's when I pray, y'all. And I'm not mad and I'm not getting cut off by other people. I'm praying and I'm talking to God and I'm meditating and I'm listening and I'm localizing in my body. Where are these emotions coming up for me? And what is it trying to tell me? Because it's getting my attention. And if your body, if you have muscle aches, if you have back aches, if you have headaches, stop trying to be mad at those things. Stop trying to say that's an irritation. Instead, I invite you this week, embrace it and say, what are you here? What message are you sending me? Because you're here to tell me a message and I need to hear it. So think of it as the universe or God is talking to you and it's telling you, you need to listen and you need to hear what it is that it's telling you. Embrace it like a friend. Invite it over and say, okay, so this is the message. And this message is getting my attention. And I'm afraid for a good reason. I am. I need to make my mortgage payment. I need to, put food on the table. I need to take care of my kids. This is here to tell me a message. And it's right on time. And so instead of resisting it, because let me tell you something that I've learned, what you resist persists. I'm going to say it again. What you resist persists. If you stop resisting it and you embrace it like a friend, it is going to help you and you're going to get over that hurdle. You're going to get over that obstacle. And you're going to get where you're going. I didn't mean to start preaching.
No, that was good stuff. Yeah. That was powerful. It's for
You hit
me.
a passion. You hit a passion button for me, obviously.
I mean, I'm so glad too. And I knew instinctively. So guys, I stopped by Susan's office on April 4th, coming back from Inglewood, Florida, back up to Pennsylvania. So I stopped the night before and met her. There's a great friend of mine, Greg Covington, works in Susan's and Jared's office, and I've known him, one of my very first students, one of the true, sincere, good guys in the world, and in his own subtle, humble way would say, you guys need to meet each other. You have so much in common, so much alike. So for those of you who know me, just based on what you just heard from Susan, would you say we're like kindred spirits? We're probably related somewhere in the past. So, but that's the stuff that matters, and that's what I get passionate about too. Is all the practical stuff, the academics, the methods, the terminology, all that stuff. It's all important in terms of how you show up in your business. Okay, you want to be a professional, you want to get good results. You really want to serve others. You got to love people to do that, right? But what makes it go, what's like the magic energy behind it all, is exactly what Susan was just talking about. And when you come to that point, that awareness in your life, it does change everything. I'm not saying you're not going to have problems. You're going to continue to be challenged. Just get used to the fact, and I don't know, but I'm pretty sure to the day we're called home, we're going to continue to have challenges. I look at some of the stuff my parents go through. I'm like, gosh, I can't imagine them at their age going through this. But you know what? Life and God will prepare them well. And I just learned to appreciate the journey. So this kind of talk, I hope, helps you to seek that out in your own lives. Take that journey, because it really is a journey. The joy, the love, the pleasure. It's fun setting goals and achieving them. Believe me, I'm a master at it. I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. But the funny thing is when you learn to enjoy the journey more, You get a lot more fulfillment out of anything you're looking to accomplish. And what you're looking to accomplish simply becomes a measurement of how well you did on your journey. Does that make sense? Like whatever it is you want, the big house, the boat, the money, whatever, is simply a measurement of how well you've done on your journey. So I suggest focus on the journey. Plus, it allows you to stay more present. It's a lot more fun serving others and helping others achieve their dreams. And ultimately, you'll come to that too. Some people more than others. Some people, that's their natural, that's the talent that they were given, right? But everybody has a capacity to serve. I call it a form of ministry. Every vocation can be a form of ministry. An auto mechanic can be ministering to people when he's fixing their cars. It's just how you show up. It's how you live it. So take this to heart and look for it in your own lives. And if you want to talk about it, believe me, that whole big exercise we do every year, vision, goals, action plans, that's where it all comes from. The vision part is where it all starts. When you have alignment there, what you're doing is an alignment, right, with what you believe your purpose is. I promise you, you could have flat tires and children need braces and your parents fall down and break your hip. All those things can still happen, but it does not knock you off your trail, off your journey. Exactly, you get right back on it. It continues, right? So in any case, I want to see if there's more questions here because I want to.
So Gary,
yes.
I was on my way down from Oregon to California yesterday evening and listened to Grant Cardone's The 10 Times Rule, and Susan's book would be an excellent book to read and go through those questions prior to that and then go through the 10 Times Rule. And because that really complements those questions that she's pulling out of us. And, and then of course, Grant Cardone, he's,
yeah,
he like 10 times everything. So, but yeah, Susan's questions and it's funny how it kind of laid it kind of made more sense out of the 10 Times Rule book, when you interject those kinds of questions into it, and then you look at that level of motivation, pretty awesome. So thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing today.
Yeah. Well, when you're open and honest with yourself, it makes it a lot easier to be open and honest with others. And when you can be open and honest with others, and the old saying, when your student's ready, the teacher will arrive. Well, whether it's me or any other teacher, me, Gina, Susan, Melanie, anybody else on the call that serves others, it allows us to know where we're starting from. Because you can give us your goal, you can tell us where you want to go, but if we don't know where you're starting from, we don't know if our suggestions or our resources in alignment with that part of your journey. So being open and answering the questions that Susan gave in the beginning, that's the beginning. That's where we're starting from. And the funny thing is you'll find out very quickly when you really stare it square in the face, no matter how good or bad it is, doesn't matter. It's just simply a starting point. It's not the end of anything. It's the beginning, of your next step in your journey. So
yeah, and actually you could come back to a lot of those questions on a monthly basis and just make those tweaks, those readjustments.
Yep. Yeah, I do. You guys see me with my planning. I'm a kind of a freak about it, but it's not a crutch. It's all in pencil because I know any given day could all be meaningless. But when I use this, it just helps me. What I do is I break it down into the next step. So I don't, I put the goal out there. I let God take care of the results, and all I do is focus on what I believe in being called to take whatever the next step is. So I'm looking at today and I'm saying, please Lord, just give me one more tomorrow. That's part of my morning prayer. Just give me one more tomorrow, and then each day is like its own little life. That's what it feels like. And, when you do look back in retrospect, it's amazing what you can accomplish when you put everything in writing, so it becomes more real. Like Susan said at the beginning, remember the first thing she said was put it in writing. And then it's taken care of. And so you just put it out in the universe and you work your way backwards to today. What is the next step I got to take today? It all makes a lot more sense, So in any case, I want to call on somebody else here. Let me see. Everybody's going to start getting nervous here. Turn their cameras off. But this is all about being helped. In fact, let's can I, hey, Sally Key, can I call on you since you were the first person I spoke to when we first signed on today? Because I don't know you and you're a guest, but any questions you have or anything you're working on that you can see us applying some of this to help you get you to your next step?
I don't have any questions at the moment, but I'm very grateful for the framework, Susan, because I go through the day using, I guess, a similar framework spiritually. I've done that for decades. So what I need to do is use this to really focus in on my business. And as of lately, I have relaxed somewhat, knowing that I'm prepared to handle whatever does come my way, that I'm still here, and also too praying for another day. And to take a few moments too, just to help people. I ran into a brand new agent yesterday. She was holding an open house and she was very scared. And, so I, gave her some information and sent her an email, and she was so grateful. And I was like, this was wonderful. I wasn't expecting to meet a new agent, but just to take a few minutes to try to help someone else, I mean, that really made my day, more so than being successful with the contract today. So I was thinking, yeah, it's great that I'm making a commission in less than 21 days on someone that was at the open house, but really I felt just so refreshed and so uplifted because I had that interaction with that new agent. So I really love your framework, and it's going to help me, I think, focus better and I'm sure increase my revenue.
Thanks for sharing. Okay, I want to call on two more people here. So Steve Montemora, are you still on? Let's see, there he is. Steve, are you at your computer? Because if you are, you're muted and he may have stepped away. See, this is why I like having people's cameras on. Okay, Steve, if you come back, we'll come back to you. But Laura Janvier. Hey, Laura, how are you, sweetheart?
Hello, hi, Gary.
Good. And by the way, Sally, Laura is also from the Atlanta area, and pretty darn you too, brand new to the business. So Laura, is there anything you'd like to ask maybe Sally about your business, like your next step, or you can ask Susan too, or Melanie, or Gina, or me. But you've got a friend in spirit right there in Atlanta, and she just helped another soul today.
I guess I would ask her, like, in your most toughest, moments, how do you get creative to motivate yourself to keep going?
Well, of course, I guess my strongest motivator would be my 15-year-old child, who I just adore. But just to know that, kind of like what Gary was saying, unfortunately, we're all going to experience pain, and you just kind of have to allow the pain to come and try not to keep it from coming once you recognize it, because it's there. And if you can just allow it to come, you can work through it quicker. So on my hardest day in real estate, I just know that to keep going, that something will change. And it may not be anything that I had anticipated, but that, you will be rewarded for just continuing to more or less put one foot in front of the other. And of course, and as far as I'm concerned, try to, do things in a godly manner, that you're going to be rewarded.
Thank you for that. I like that advice.
And Laura, set up a strategy call.
Okay, Gary, I will. I know it's been a minute, but I will.
That's okay. I know. Believe me, I'm with you 100% of the way.
Thank you so much, Gary.
You're welcome. Okay, let's see here. All right, I think that's probably pretty good. So if you guys any questions, who's got a challenge? I mean, this is you got Susan, Melanie, Gina, and little old me here. I mean, you couldn't have a better, more packed house of veteran senior leadership. Dan Hillsman's on too, by the way. Another Atlantean. This is your opportunity, guys. If people would pay, believe me, thousands of dollars a month to have this kind of leadership right here at one time. So you guys are quiet.
Gary, this is Benetta. Can you hear me?
Hey, Benetta, how you doing? Yep, I sure
Okay.
can.
So I got a quick question. I heard, I'm sorry, what is her name?
Susan Shaffer.
Susan, she said that she has a mentoring with her team on Fridays or something.
Yes.
Is that only for her team?
Well, I don't currently work with outside agents, but sure, I'd love to help. I love to serve. It is a passion. So I'd be honored to help.
I would like to just kind of see. So I'm really working, getting my stuff down to, I got my time blocked down to a fine science. So that's really working for me. I've got it very consistent. And then I know what I'm going to do every day. Now I'm making phone calls. So that's really working for me now. I'm on a roll. Now I just got to get these appointments. That's the next thing that I'm challenged with, because you can make calls all day long, but if you don't have any appointments, it doesn't matter. So that's where that's my next, I'm focused. I mean, and I think really teaching that class, Gary, with the new agents, know, one of the things I love about teaching as a former school teacher is the teacher does most of the learning. And so the benefit of teaching is really the learning, because you think you're talking to them, but really you're talking to yourself. It's an echo, it's a bounce back, it's a reflection, it's a boomerang. And so I have got my time blocking. I'm so proud of me. Okay. And you worry about being disciplined. I'm focused. But now I got that next piece. There's always one more. There's always a next piece.
Yeah. So Susan Benetta, I've known her for several years too, and she's led one of her initial masterminds. We call CORE, C-O-R-E, which is champion, opportunity, ramp it up, and engage. She led the ramp it up group, and now she's evolved in the more of a coaching role. And she's also a natural teacher. She used to be a teacher and an avid, eager learner. I mean, and hardworking too. So get ready for a high energy learner. On your Friday call.
I'd be happy to help.
So I would love to see if I could sit in and just kind of, I'll be quiet. I just want to observe, kind of, learn through osmosis. I always tell everybody, don't let any one person be your teacher. You can learn from everybody.
Oh yeah. Yep. And Benetta's a fellow Virginia too, Susan. So she's up in
nice.
Yep.
Very nice.
So, okay. Let me check the chat box one more time here. Let's see. Great. Just wanted to hear focus on metrics that I know are not pretty. Okay. Hey, Kay, if you want to ask a question, I mean, feel free. I'm not sure if I see Kay anymore. Maybe she's already gone. Let's see. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I think we may just broke a record. Normally, the last year we've been going till like 9:00. And by the way, next week's class is going to be extremely difficult because we're not going to have it.
Gary, Kate says she's here. She's just in her car and she can't figure out how to talk in the car.
Oh, I'm not sure. I think it probably depends on your phone. And I don't want you to type a chat either while you're driving. But, and by the way, guys, what's that?
She said she's parked now.
Oh, so on your phone, Kay, if you just kind of move your finger around on the screen, you should see a little microphone symbol, like with a line through it, and you just click on it. And it should open up your mic. I hope
I just allowed her to talk, so hopefully that will pop it also.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing things. I have a technology phobia that I'm getting rid of, so it's not going to be in my life next year because I'm going to master it. Yeah, I was in the middle of getting grandkids when we started the call, and I fed them and then got in the car, and now I'm picking up a contract, and then I have to go to the hospital to see a little baby. So that's the rest of my day. I guess my one question, is, I guess I get frustrated, like Bonetta said, when you're making the phone calls and you're not getting the results, you just go back and do it day after day. That's where I'm I feel like sometimes I'm spinning my wheels, and maybe what I need to really do is just pull back and really look at, what I'm targeting, and am I calling the right numbers? I don't know, but that's where I'm stuck.
Good. I really, I think that's awesome, because when you identify it, then you can tackle it. So, when you know what it is that your obstacle is, you can invite that and you can say, okay, just like you did, it's giving you some information. So what's happening is you're going to want to focus on what you're passionate about, which we kind of, we talked about that a little while ago. And in the sitting, and I really hope that you take these questions and you allow them in your quiet time or journaling to be thought provoking. And I'm hopeful that I can be that little whisper in your ear that can say, what are the things that you love to do? Because what you'll find is that you'll find things that you like to do, and they inspire you and they fill you. So things that fill you with joy and passion, those really in the focus part, when we focus, going to that pie chart of what you're going to spend time on. Again, that's a different topic for another day, but the 8, 8, and 8, what you're going to spend during your 8. You've got to really kind of key in on what kind of clients are they that fill your tank and that fill your pocketbook. So that's what I would have to say.
Great, that's helpful. Thank you. I hope I'll see the slides, because there was a period I couldn't see them. So I'm happy that we'll be able to get the slides. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Another fellow Virginian too. So Kayla's like really 10 minutes from my mom, way out in middle of nowhere, Standardsville, which is north of Charlottesville. And it's, there's not much out there but horses and cows and lots of beautiful people. So yeah. Okay, guys, going once, going twice. Oh, sorry. The next class will be on the 13th, and that's another old friend of mine, Ken Wimberly, from Abilene, Texas. He's a commercial guy. He's going to talk to you about triple net leases, which is something that really you can participate in. Okay, you don't have to necessarily be commercial. It's a finite set of, facts and rules that some of our agents are already working on right now. So I thought I'd have him give you. And he's an awesome guy. He's got a program that he sells online that helps families capture photographs and memories and put them in sort of a like a journal. It's an interesting, and that's his focus now. He's really kind of semi-retired, but he devotes his life to that whole keeping families together, which is one of the most important things right now in this world. So that's Ken Wimberly. But for right now, I just want to thank you guys for participating, especially the guests. Some of you I've never met before, Sally, Jeff Costin. I didn't get the call on each one of you, but DeMark Campus. Let's see who else is here. Rose James. And for those of you on the phone, I just see a phone number, so I can't see your name. But Dan Hilsman, thanks for logging in, brother. Good to have you on, man. So Dan's a few layers above me in wealth of knowledge and wisdom. So in any case, thank you, everybody, and Susan, especially a big thank you to, can we give Susan a big hand, guys? So, yeah, thanks. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your material, but the PowerPoint, I have to figure out the book, Susan. I'm not sure, is there an instruction set somewhere for people to get?
Yeah, if you go to theshafferway.com, so it's just the word the Shaffer, SHAFFER way.com. You will find right in the middle of that section. It's our real estate school for brand new people, but there's also a way to get the book, and you can just download it for free.
Put it in here, theshafferway.com.
Yep.
Good. Guys, I apologize the background there. We're having a Florida thunder boomer rolling right across the Gulf there, so kind of neat to see, but I'm sure it's making some crazy background noise for you. But listen, you guys, thanks again for participating. For those of you who are running the book with me, that meeting is Wednesday night. And Beverly put all the information out there. So look for the email from Beverly or go to our workplace page, click on more and then events, and you'll see the login there. But if you're not on the team, so like Melanie, make sure Melanie, you already have the login for Wednesday, Melanie?
I don't know if I have the login or not. I did receive an email, I believe a while back, but I'll look for that, make sure I have it.
Right, and I'm gonna save the first draft. Susan, I'm writing my 8th book. And it was all about the team and how we've been able to grow this amazing network in just a few short years with tremendous results. And it really is, it's about the people. These are the guys putting the points on the board. I'm simply back here being the guide, and they're the heroes. And it occurred to me, I said, wait a minute, why am I writing this just for me to talk about the team? Why don't I let the team participate in it? So I'm going to do the front end, and I'm going to let each agent that wants to participate write a chapter with their story in like one lesson, one deal they did, one unique campaign, something like that. I thought, what a great way to let them participate and then give them the authorship rights and distribution rights. And later on, they can literally clone it and put their name on it and their picture. So any case, that's what we're doing Wednesday night. So look forward to seeing you guys there. Have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. If you're traveling, be safe. And most of all, God bless you and your families. And thank you for everything you're doing. It's a wonderful experience. For me, this was a dream come true. And I said it before, it's one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done. So I want to thank you for being part of that and allowing me to do what I do. So, okay, guys.
It was a blessing. Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Susan. This
Thanks,
was phenomenal.
everybody.
Yeah.
This
Hey,
was
I forgot to
awesome.
tell you
Thank
guys,
you.
guess what?
Thank you so
Tonight,
much.
no cookies or ice cream. Tonight is cantaloupe. I got the first good cantaloupe of the year, so I'm gonna go eat about a half a cantaloupe.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you again.
Hi, everyone. Thank
We'll
you
see
so
you
much.
guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.